Some stories never really end. They just become a part of the air we breathe, the ground we walk on. The story of Stony, Cleo, Titian, and Frankie is one of those. It's a legend whispered in the neighborhoods, a cautionary tale told with a mix of sadness and pride. It's been decades since they decided to take their lives back into their own hands, robbing banks to escape a system that was built to see them fail. They weren't just criminals, they were mothers, sisters, and friends pushed to the absolute edge. Their fight wasn't just for money, it was for respect. It was for a chance to just breathe without the weight of the world on their shoulders. Today, in 2025, the dust from their choices has never fully settled. The community still feels the tremors of what they did. Their actions became a symbol. For some, it was a symbol of desperation, a tragedy showing what happens when hope runs out. For others, it was a symbol of rebellion, a brave and loud scream against injustice. The memory of their bond, their laughter, and their tragic end is woven into the fabric of the community. It serves as a constant reminder of how thin the line is between doing what is right and doing what you must to survive in a world that often gives you no good options to choose from. The world has changed since the 90s, or so they say. We have new technology, new slang, new music, but for so many people in the same neighborhoods, the struggle looks painfully familiar. The same lack of opportunity hangs heavy in the air. The same feeling of being overlooked and undervalued by the powers that be is a daily reality. The cost of living has skyrocketed, but the wages have barely budged. People are still working 2 or 3 jobs just to keep the lights on and food on the table. The dreams of Frankie, Cleo, and Titian, dreams of safety, stability, and a better life for their families, are still the same dreams being fought for today. The legacy of those 4 women is complicated. They weren't perfect heroes. They made choices that led to pain and loss. But their story forces us to ask hard questions. What do you do when the system is rigged? How far do you go for the people you love? Their desperation was born from a society that shut door after door in their faces. Their actions were a direct response to a world that saw them as disposable. And that's why their story still matters so much. It holds a mirror up to our world and shows us the cracks that are still there, the wounds that have never truly been allowed to heal. The past isn't just something you read about in history books. Sometimes it's the person you see in the mirror. For a new generation of young women, the legacy of the original crew is not a legend. It's their inheritance. Imagine being Jada, Cleo's niece, now a young woman with the same fiery spirit and fierce loyalty as the aunt she only knows through stories. She sees the same injustices her aunt faced every single day. She watches her friends struggle to pay for college, to find decent jobs, to get fair treatment. The world promised progress, but for Jada and her friends, it feels like they are running in place, fighting the same old battles. Then there's Maya, a single mother who reminds everyone of a young Stony. She's smart, driven, and works tirelessly at a low-wage job, trying to build a future for her son. She dreams of a life where she doesn't have to choose between paying the rent and buying medicine for her child. Every day is a tightrope walk. She follows all the rules, works hard, and keeps her head down, but the walls keep closing in. She feels that same quiet desperation Stony felt, that feeling of drowning while everyone else tells you to just swim harder. The system that failed Stony is the same system that is failing Maya now, just with a new coat of paint. The connection to the past is everywhere. It's in the lack of funding for community centers, the same ones Titian fought to keep open for her son. It's in the predatory loans and financial traps that catch good people, the same way Frankie was caught after being unjustly fired from her job. These new heroines are not just living in the shadow of the past, they are living inside its echo. They see their own struggles reflected in the stories of the original 4. They understand the anger, the frustration, and the feeling of being completely and utterly trapped with no way out. The events of the past are not just a backdrop, they are an active character in the present. The community views the memory of the heists with a complex mix of fear and reverence. The older generation warns the younger one not to make the same mistakes, to not let desperation lead them down a dark path. But the younger generation sees the bravery in what they did. They see 4 women who refuse to be silent victims. This tension creates a powerful dynamic where the new generation must decide whether to heed the warnings of the past or to draw inspiration from its rebellion, crafting their own path forward. Every movement needs a spark. For Jada, Maya, and their friends, that spark comes when the community faces a new crisis. A powerful corporation is buying up property, displacing families who have lived in the neighborhood for generations. They call it urban renewal, but everyone on the ground knows it's just a pretty word for erasure. The local community center, the last safe space for kids, is slated for demolition. This is the final straw. It's a direct attack on their home, their history, and their future. Suddenly, the quiet desperation that has been simmering under the surface boils over into a need for action. This is where the new crew is born, not in a moment of greed, but in a moment of defense. Jada, with Cleo's boldness, becomes the outspoken leader. She is not afraid to stand up and speak truth to power. Maya, with Stony's strategic mind, starts to think about the system not just as something to endure, but as something to be challenged. She researches the corporation, finds its weaknesses, and starts to formulate a plan. They are joined by Lena, a tech-savvy computer whiz who can navigate the digital world, and Simone, a gentle soul with a deep connection to the community, who organizes protests and rallies the people. Their challenges are immense and deeply connected to the original story. They don't have access to power, money, or influence. The system is designed to ignore them. When they try to fight legally, their voices are drowned out by corporate lawyers and corrupt city officials. They face the same dismissive attitudes and systemic roadblocks that pushed Frankie, Cleo, Tician, and Stony to their breaking point. The new crew quickly learns that playing by the rules is a losing game when the rules are written by your opponent. They are faced with the same impossible choice: accept defeat or escalate the fight. The connection to the original crew is more than just blood or circumstance. It's a shared spirit. Jada finds strength in the stories of Cleo's fearlessness. Maya sees in Stony a blueprint for survival and sacrifice. They understand that their fight is not just for a building, it's for their right to exist. It's a fight for justice for their families and their community. The decision they face is not whether to act, but how. How do you fight a monster without becoming one yourself? This question hangs over them, just as it did for the 4 women who came before them, creating a powerful tension between their ideals and the harsh reality of their situation. In a world designed to break you apart, sisterhood is not just a friendship, it's a shield. For Jada, Maya, Lena, and Simone, their bond becomes their most powerful weapon. They know that the system wants them to be divided. It wants them to be isolated and scared. But together, they find a strength they don't have on their own. They share their fears in late-night conversations, they celebrate small victories with shared meals, and they hold each other up when the weight of the fight becomes too much to bear. This loyalty is the beating heart of their rebellion, a fierce and unwavering commitment to one another. This sisterhood is a direct echo of the bond between Stony, Cleo, Frankie, and Tician. Those 4 women were more than just partners in crime. They were family. They loved each other, they fought for each other, and they ultimately died for each other. The new crew understands this instinctively. They see that their survival depends on their ability to trust one another completely. When one of them is in danger, they all are. When one of them succeeds, they all do. This theme of loyalty is not just about friendship, it's a core survival strategy in a world that offers them very little support. The choices they face test this loyalty at every turn. As their plans to fight the corporation become more daring, the risks get higher. They have to make hard decisions that blur the line between right and wrong. Do they expose a corrupt official, even if it means using illegally obtained information? Do they sabotage the corporation's equipment to stop the demolition, an act the world will label as a crime? Each choice forces them to weigh their morals against the survival of their community. It's in these moments of intense pressure that their friendship is truly forged in fire, proving that their loyalty is unbreakable. This struggle between survival and morality creates a constant, gripping tension. They are not hardened criminals. They are ordinary women pushed into extraordinary circumstances. They argue, they doubt, and they fear the consequences of their actions. Maya, the mother, constantly worries about what will happen to her son if she gets caught. Jada's righteous anger sometimes threatens to push them too far, too fast. It is their love and respect for one another that keeps them grounded. They are each other's conscience, reminding one another what they are fighting for, not just for themselves, but for everyone who has ever been counted out. The fight against systemic injustice is not a sprint. It's a marathon passed down from one generation to the next. The struggles of Frankie, Cleo, Tician, and Stony in the 90s are the same struggles that Jada, Maya, Lena, and Simone face today. Economic hardship and a system that favors the rich and powerful remain the central obstacles. The story shows us with painful clarity that progress is slow and often feels non-existent for those at the bottom. The fight for a living wage, for affordable housing, for a safe community, this is an ongoing war, and these women are the latest soldiers on the front lines. But this story is not just about the struggle, it's about the incredible resilience of the human spirit. It's about the power of community. While the four women lead the charge, they are not alone. They are supported by their neighbors, by the elders who share wisdom, and by the young people who look up to them. This collective strength is what gives them hope. It shows that even when facing a faceless, powerful enemy, a community that stands together can create its own power. Their fight becomes a rallying cry, inspiring others to stop being silent and to demand the justice they deserve. The legacy of Set It Off is not just about robbing banks, it's about what pushes people to that point. It's about fighting for your dignity when the world tries to strip it away. The new generation honors the original crew not by repeating their exact actions, but by embracing their spirit of defiance. They find new ways to fight the same old battles, using technology, community organizing, and their own unbreakable bond to challenge the system. They prove that the legacy is not one of tragedy alone, but one of unending strength and the refusal to give up no matter the odds. In the end, this story is a powerful message of hope. It tells us that even when wounds from the past never fully heal, new strength can rise from the scars. It reminds us that loyalty and sisterhood are forces that can change the world. The fight for justice is a long and difficult road, but as long as there are brave women willing to stand up, to fight for their communities, and to demand a better future, then the legacy lives on. It breathes in every act of defiance, in every moment of shared strength, and in the unwavering belief that a better world is not just a dream, but a promise worth fighting for.